Getting into our options trading, again, we're going to the trade tab. We're going to start in table mode this time. So we're in table mode. And then we're finding a symbol we want to trade, either from our watch list, or even then, if you go up to the top here and tap on the symbol at the top, you can start searching for different symbols. Maybe we want to trade TSM or Taiwan Semiconductors. We could pull that up. Now we're viewing the options chain on TSM below. So this kind of mirrors the rest of our platforms where, excuse me, you're going to have all the different expirations that we can trade, the amount of days until expiration for each of those dates in the middle here. So 2D is 2 days, 9D is 9 days. On the far right, we have the implied volatility and expected move for each of these expirations. And then lastly, we also have these W's here. Those are denoting weekly options expirations. So if you're not seeing weekly options expirations, or maybe you like to trade 0DT SPX, two important settings you're going to want to check out is up here in the expirations and the strikes here. And let me get those off there. But when you click on that funnel icon up here, you're going to see all regular, non-regular. So regular is our monthlies, non-regular is our weeklies. We go all. We can view that as well. And then in terms of once we're ready to place a trade, maybe we want to trade this April 19th, 58 days out expiration. We can tap on this row here. Now we're going to see all the strike prices available. And part of that too is that we have strikes all listed at the top. So strikes all, maybe we want to only see 10. We can change that to 10 or 6. You know, you're placing calendar spreads. This can come in super useful where you want to see strikes for 2 different expirations at the same time. But just right now, we'll go to all. Scroll up or down. When we're looking to place an options trade here, similar to stock, there's going to be 2 different ways we can do this here. And as a new user on the platform, the easiest way, or at least kind of the most fundamental way, is through our strategy selector at the top of our screen. So you see strategy up here. If we're looking to place an option spread, or in this case, maybe a vertical spread, or maybe we want to place a butterfly, any of these strategies that are listed in this dropdown, it's going to help us set up these trades a little bit quicker in our trading mode. So in this case, we had long call vertical here at the top. On this row, we have our iron condor as well. But if you wanted to trade something different, maybe you want to do a short put vertical spread, all you got to do is just tap on these icons or these buttons here, and that will toggle between short and put and long and call. So I'm just tapping on those. So maybe we want to do short put vertical, we can set that, or long call vertical, we could set it back. And then once you're ready to queue up that trade, you can click on the check mark. And now it's going to create 2 legs there for our long call spread. And while you are doing this, it's just going to set up a default one right near at the money, or at least that long leg is going to be right near the at the money strike. But, you want to edit this or customize your trade. All you got to do is tap your finger on a specific leg. So here I'm tapping on the blue, or not blue, green, colorblind. But tapping on the green and dragging and moving around up and down. Either on the short or long leg, you can do that just with your fingers. Or additionally, we have tools here at the bottom to edit your trade a little bit quicker, where maybe you want to push the strikes down a little bit, push them up, expand the width. All these settings down there in our trade ticket you can mess around with. Same with the quantity. You can play around with the quantity. You can do all that there. Maybe we'll just go back to 5 wide and go there. And then there's a couple other options in terms of changing the expiration if you wanted to, forwards or backwards, or swap around the trade entirely. So some extra additional tools if you don't want to drag and move stuff around. But in terms of actually looking at our trades metrics or profit and loss on this trade, or theta or delta, that's all going to be at the top of our order ticket. So we can see delta, theta, max profit, max loss, how much buying power is being held up for opening this position, and some other metrics like probability of profit, extrinsic value, stuff like that. So you got all those metrics at the top of your screen. And then we also have our order ticket price and our order type and time in force. In this case, we're just going to do a day order. Maybe we'll set a GTC actually. And we will set it at the current mid price. So another point too, as you're setting up these trades or just trading option spreads in general, right now the market's closed, so bid and ask spreads are pretty wide. But if you wanted to know where this spread is trading at, or at least where the market is at on here, check out this bar underneath the price there. That's where you're going to see the mid and nap price. So in this case, it's a long spread. So the more you're paying, the more you're closer getting to the nap price or where you're more likely to get a fill. So by default, the platform is going to set up that order ticket to the mid price, which in this case is $1.62. But maybe when the market's open or we send this order, it's working, it's not filled yet, but we want to get filled right away, might need to replace the order, add a cent to it, or a couple cents, and kind of tick it up until you get filled there. So important information there at the bottom. And then lastly, before we ship this off, if you wanted to get rid of any of these legs, you can tap your finger and hold, and there's a delete leg option. And then there's also some trash can icons down here as well, if you wanted to tap on those. So we could tap on the trash icon down here, and that gets down or gets rid of individual legs. And then I showed it a little bit earlier as well, but if you wanted to get rid of the trade entirely, you can click on clear here too. So you can click on clear and it's gone. So nice. That was our first method for setting up a trade there, just with the strategy selector. But our other method, again, I kind of showed it there quickly, but in terms of setting up a trade, when you look at the table here, we have our calls on the left side, we have our puts on the right side, we have the bid and ask price for puts on the right side, calls on the left side. If we wanted to buy a call, we need to click on the ask price. If we wanted to sell a call, we click on the bid price. So if we wanted to quickly set up a trade here, you can tap on 130. And then you could also tap on the short leg there too. And boom, we have that same spread set up. So you can either do it through the strategy selector and move around the legs, or you can just tap on the strikes you want to trade in specific. But that's how you can actually set up the trades there, or start setting up your multi-leg option spreads. You can do all that jazz, multiple legs. And then as you're adjusting your trade here, what's really nice is that see this yellow bar here? That's actually showing us our expected move. And then we have this green and red bar on the left side of our strike prices. That's actually showing us our break-even points on this trade, or where our break-even is. So we could look to set this trade up, right to, possibly profit right around that break-even pointer at the edge of the expected move. And as long as it trades within that range, we'll end up at a loss at expiration. So that's a little bit of an overview, large look at it. But so that's in table mode. Once you have all your legs there, we can go into here, into table, and then go into curve. So we change that trading mode to curve. And again, this might, we'll look to zoom it out here a little bit. Wants to behave for me here. There we go. Yeah, Zoom's giving me a hard time. If you're in landscape mode, it's going to look a little bit better here, but this is where you can get a little bit of a closer look at your break-even points on this trade. Now, you want to know the exact number for the break-even point. That's going to come out in our next iPad release. So we're actually the same analysis mode that's available on our desktop platform in terms of looking at your actual very granular look at your profit and loss graph to know exactly what profit you would be at an exact price at expiration. That's all getting updated in our next iPad release. So it's coming soon. But for right now, it's just little, you kind of got to do the mental math in terms of figuring that out based on your opening price and in the graph here. But in our next release, we'll have the break-even point analysis and much easier way to view there. So, and I see the question that came up too is, hey, I've got a trade. I kind of want at least like mock it up ahead of time. We don't have a dedicated feature for that, but there is, you can kind of meander around that in a sense that you send off an order either when the market's closed or at a price that wouldn't get filled, or kind of essentially far away from the nap price. You could send off that order. So in this case, we wanted to, the nap price is $1.57. So we'll just enter this at $1 just so it doesn't get filled when we send it. Market's closed anyways right now, but we wanted to ship off this order, and we do, who cares about the strategy for this, just for example purposes, but we have our working order there. And then when we go back to our positions tab, we can see that working order, and then we can cancel it. So we canceled our working order. And then I showed this tab a little bit earlier, but if you go to the activity tab here, you can see this old canceled working order. And if you tap your finger and hold over it and then tap similar, that's going to pull up the same exact trade. Now you're going to have to go back, change that price back to the mid price, but that's kind of the workaround there.